Well, welcome back to Airstream Designing with SketchUp. We are going to be starting on the lesson section 8, which will involve placing windows into your Airstream trailer shell. In this lesson, I'm going to first start with some orientation about looking at our trailer and how we see it, and referring to traditional drafting techniques about what view represents the way that we are looking at our trailer. If you've had some drafting experience or even some 3D computing experience, you'll already know these things. But since some of you people may be doing this new, I think it's important that we go over this so that you can follow through this particular lesson. So starting out with what we are doing right now, we are looking at our trailer in what is called the perspective view. What does a perspective view mean? It means that we're looking at our drawing similar to what we'd see it in real life, and the illusion is that the front of the trailer looks larger, and as it goes back in space it looks smaller and smaller. This is again what is referred to as the perspective view. If you go up to Camera and click on Camera, we have a couple of other things that we can work with when we're working with looking at something. First of all is what's called parallel projection, and when I first click it on, you'll notice that it makes the trailer look very strange and weird. It looks almost like backward perspective, but part of that is meant for looking at the trailer either straight on to a side or straight on to an end. It's not meant to be looked at as a perspective view. So let's go back up to Camera, and hit Perspective again. And now you see it comes back to a view as we use our scroll button and hold it down and rotate around the image. The trailer looks like what we would see it in real life. Back up to Camera again and come down to a 2-point perspective, and if we click on that, what we'll see is something that looks somewhat like a perspective view, but the difference is we have to briefly talk about perspective, we have two vanishing points, one that goes back up in this direction to this horizon, one that goes back in this direction to this horizon. But the vertical lines are all perfectly straight up and down to the view. Let's go back up to Camera and click on Perspective View. The thing that's different about Perspective View is we have three vanishing points. We have one point that goes back again to this horizon, one to this horizon, and then the vertical lines go to another vanishing point, and it depends on how you're looking at the trailer. The view right now, what happens, all these lines are going down or converging to a point below the eye level line, so we actually have 3 points of reference, or all the lines in the trailers or the drawing are diminishing back to vanishing points. If we tip it way up like this, then what happens is you see these are all slanting up, so that this third vanishing point is up in this area, and then we have one down this way and one down this way. And if you follow these edges, see the edge of the trailer here, the edge of the trailer here, they point to the ones going to the horizon. The vertical ones all point up towards a point in the sky. Again, if we're looking down, the vertical lines now are going down to a point this way, where you can see that this is going to the horizon that is up, this is going to the horizon that is up. So these things are important to have some clear understanding for what we're going to be doing next. The other thing that I want to point out, I've mentioned them casually. I've been working so far. We've talked about the three axes, the way the space is divided up. We have the red axis running along this way, which will go out to the vanishing point on the horizon this way. We have the green axis that's going back this way to the horizon in this direction. And then we have the blue or vertical axis that is going, in this case, to the vanishing point down this way. But what they do is they help us establish this area in space that we're working on. And the thing that's interesting about working in drafting or perspective, because these three axes are used for reference, the basic shape that we always start out with is a rectangle or square shape, and then build from there to create our forms. Okay, the next thing is naming the views. If you have your trailer set up so that the long side of the trailer is on the red axis, as I have, and that's what I've continued to talk about. You may have yours going a different direction for whatever choice you made. So the thing you need to think of is, if you're looking, so the red axis is parallel to your line of view or your TV screen here. This is the front view. This is the right view. This is the left view. And then, of course, this would be the back view, top, and bottom. So those are the standard names of those views that we're going to be working with. And in doing the windows, this becomes important because we're going to take the information to create the size and placement of the windows from the photographs, if you got them taken earlier, of the front view, side view, back view of your trailer. And we're going to use those for reference to create our window sizes and window spaces. So that's why I want to mention those. How do we find those views? Again, if we go back up to camera, click on camera, we have something here that's called standard views. And you can see here we have top, bottom, front, back, left, right, and ISO. Isometric is another way of looking at a trailer. And for right now, we're just going to leave it alone. If you're not familiar with these things, we don't need to think about it at this point, so let's just leave it out. So let's try, for instance, if I go to top view and click on top view, you can see it gives me a top view. Now right now this is a top, still somewhat of a perspective view, so I want to go to camera and click on parallel projection, and you can see how that changes. See how you're looking right straight down on the trailer. Let's go back up to camera and click on perspective again. And especially in this 50s flying cloud trailer, watch how what you see on the back of the trailer changes considerably when it's perspective, because all the lines that are going away from us are going to a single vanishing point right here, so they're all going in this direction. And what's important for us again is camera, parallel projection, so that this is a flat top view. Let's go back up to camera, and again this is just to get to familiar. Remember, right view would be this end, so let's come down and hit right, and there's our right view. Back up to camera, standard views. Let's go to left view, which in this case would be looking at the back of the trailer. And there's the back of the trailer. Back up to camera, standard views, and let's look at the front view. Alright, so you'll notice when we're looking at these views, if we look at our axis lines, we see our red axis, we see our blue axis, but we don't see the green axis, because from this good point it's going right straight back into space and not coming to a vanishing point. So we're really seeing the trailer as a flat view.